Right. Hello, hello, hello. We're having fun and games here, so please bear with us because I'm here with the lovely Lance from Florida who's going to be bringing us lots of light today, but you're having internet issues, aren't you?
Yes, yes. Thanks, Catherine. I'll do my best to push through this, and hopefully we have a strong connection.
Yeah, right. Everyone send positive vibes out there for the internet. So, thank you everyone who is joining us. So today we are going to be bringing you some light in lots of different forms. I think we all need it. We can see I've got light shining at me from everywhere. It's a rare summer day in the UK. Before we kick off into the real subject matter, and people in the chat, please do not be shy at asking questions. What's been happening with you and being YouTube friendly? Because I've just got off a ban. Anything exciting to share with us?
Yeah, so there's a lot of huge things happening in the U.S. Politically. I mean, I know this isn't really the topic of the conversation, but I'll share a few positive things because at the end of the day, we know this is a spiritual battle and it's about light versus dark. And so we're talking about light, but there's some really positive things happening where Brandon and his family are being investigated and subpoenas are being issued. The director of the FBI here in the U.S. has been subpoenaed. He's going to testify next week in relation to Brandon and some of the family dealings and pay for play schemes. But that's huge. It's all coming out. The CDC director was subpoenaed. Two other huge governmental organizations in the U.S. were subpoenaed. So they're holding them to the fire, and I think that they're actually going to follow through on what the plan has been this whole time. Show us the truth, and then hold them accountable.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And there's weird and wonderful things happening over here. I'd like to give something as positive as that, but I'm not sure I honestly can. But hence the subject today, where we're going to be focusing on bringing the light, shining the light on the darkness, because and nothing evil, dark, horrible can thrive when you don't shine the light on it. There is lots happening globally, but honestly, over here it's a little bit confusing to see how we can read many positives into it. However, I know Lance, and I'm going to try and say this with a very serious face. I know you're so excited because tomorrow we are officially crowning King Charlie Boy as king. So we're waiting with interest to see what shenanigans that brings and which puppet gets wheeled out for that performance. I'm really hoping that it's like a spitting image version. Wouldn't that be brilliant if the good guys actually put some hysterical masks on these people with ears even more out here than they are normally?
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And as you know, Catherine, they're timing this astrologically and in other ways, ways that go back to who the actual royals really are, because that's fakery. They're not the real royal bloodlines. I mean, we all are. We're all children of God, but they've hijacked the whole system. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, completely. I mean, personally, I still not got over the fact that I haven't evolved from a monkey because I was so happy because I thought my tail might grow back at some stage. But I'm going to have to get over that. And who knows with this technology and once I activate all my DNA, what I might be able to regenerate. So, on another note, let's talk about before we get into the real nitty gritty of today, talk me through some of the other areas about how you activate the light within you, activate the energy, because I know you're really into sun gazing, aren't you, as well?
Yes, definitely. And that's the biggest thing that I always talk about. A lot of people have probably heard me say it, but it's worth repeating because the fundamentals and basics are just that. It's fundamentals and basic things, but it's often those things that are overlooked. We're looking for a new gadget or some new routine or something that's gonna fix us or take care of us. And trust me, I'm in that same boat too. I'm looking for all the cool new things, but also doing my best to continue to implement and utilize the basics of what really work in great ways. So definitely getting light in the sunshine, in the eyes in the morning. Again, even if it's cloudy, if you step outside, you're getting way more light than, I mean, what's present in a home typically, and it's the natural light that we need. And so the eyes take in those photons and then can help to produce neurotransmitters and just different compounds that actually help us.
Yeah, I love it. And we've got some lovely people joining us in the chat. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Rachel. We've got Rachel's from Adelaide. Let us know where you're all from, because we love that. Hi, Andrea. Thank you for joining us. So this is one of the things that you and I really, really are passionate about, is using everything that nature's given us. Because this is how we really take our power back. We're using grounding, we're using sun gazing, we're using getting out in nature to connect ourselves back to all that is, to everything, and also to build our microbiome. And one of the things we wanted to talk today is this super duper, and I was so happy when you got this algae oil, your algae DHA with the lemon flavor in. And I absolutely love it, because I do drink a lot of lemon water. I absolutely love lemons. There's something about the vibrancy and the energy of lemons that really, really agrees with me. One of the reasons we wanted to have this conversation again today about really the benefiting of the DHA is because so many people and animals are deficient in it, aren't they, Lance?
Yeah. 95% of the population is deficient in the omega-3s. And you wouldn't think that would be the case, just simply because, we've all heard about how important omega-3s are, but unless you're really digging deep and really spending some time on it, it's just one of those things like, oh yeah, we should get those fats in our diet. We need them in our diet, but maybe I'm getting enough from the fish oil or the salmon that I'm eating or whatever. But even with that, the government has even put out this research in different governmental organizations that I've looked into and ran the numbers myself to make sure I was accurate with what they were saying. And it's that a person would have to consume 5.5 to 11 servings of salmon per week to get 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of these omega-3s per day. Okay. And so most people are not eating 6 to 11 servings of salmon per week. And even if someone loves salmon, I mean, at maybe 3 or 4 times at most, but that's not even for most people sustainable more than a week or two to keep doing. So the point is, these omega-3s, they are difficult to get in the diet in some ways if you're not getting them from the right sources. And so what we've done is just gone to the source, which is algae. The algae is harvesting the light. It's literally transforming photonic free energy light particles into chemical energy that then is a physical substance here in this 3D world. So it's a light harvester. And so when we as humans consume it, whether it's through fish or through the algae directly, we're taking in that light harvesting capability from the DHA to help optimize our entire physiology.
I absolutely love it. And when you look at, there's quite a lot I want to pull out of there. First and foremost, of course, one of the problems of people eating fish now is most of the fish available to us is farmed and can be very, very high in pollutants. For those people like me, there's the ethical considerations of it, because we know a lot of the oceans are very, very overfished. But actually, I was speaking to Jason Shuttler earlier on the week, but I could only publish it today because of my ban, which is why we're being so careful. But all the quantum healing tools, virtually every single quantum healing tool recognizes that we are light bodies, that every living thing is, whether you call it energy, light. And this is how we are able to activate our extra strands of DNA, activate our full body's healing potential, and very, very importantly, activate our intuition. So anything that we can do to increase our body's availability of utilizing this light is just so, so important, which is why I don't think it's any accident, do you, Lance, that most of these natural sources of the DHA have been deliberately taken out of the food chain and the modern day diet?
Yeah, absolutely, because they know how foundational it is. I mean, even some infant formulas or baby formulas will have it in there, so they know, but they don't have it at the ratios and the quantities that's actually needed to help the child. And I was speaking with a neonatologist specifically about the formula and infant formula for fats and fatty acids. And like standard of care here in the US is soybean oil as the base.
Oh my God.
Anchovy oil mixed in for the fatty acids like EPA and DHA, olive oil, and there was another not good oil. But the olive oil is fine, but it wasn't organic. The soybean oil most certainly probably was GMO soy. They're literally giving this to the infant babies who have trouble eating or have trouble digesting. And that's the standard of care. It's terrible. It's promoting inflammation from the moment they ingest that product. So, we've been talking about how do we replace that and get those good fats in there and those good clean fatty acids. Yeah, exactly, like that. And that's what we do. So, you had called out the point that we launched this with the lemon flavor, Catherine, and this is something that we're very excited about for so many reasons, but because of the source of what we're doing on this lemon. So I'm going to pull this up real quick and walk through this because this is very exciting for us. And, people might typically not think, oh, well, what does a flavor have to do with, being so excited? But there's, reasoning for it. So this product that we were talking about, it's from the algae, and so it has a slight algae taste. Some people don't mind it. Some people really don't like the algae taste. And so what we did is we wanted to add in a flavor that was going to actually cover it up and help immensely. And this flavor is not synthetic. It's not, quote unquote natural. It is cold pressed organic lemon peel oil itself mixed in with these fatty acids. And so it covers the taste immensely. And, it's fantastic for people who just don't like the normal taste of that. And so what we've done is we're getting them from organically grown lemons here in the US. Obviously, this, Catherine, lemon peel oil and lemon peel has been used in many different ways. People often use or make tea out of it, rich in bioflavonoids, essential oils, vitamins, minerals, and really beneficial itself for cardiovascular, eye, joint, skin, and brain health support. And obviously the fatty acids do all of that itself too.
I drink the lemon peel tea a lot. My daughter and I do. And what we do is because that's big in Italy, a lot of Italians do. And we grate it and then infuse it. I've got some pictures going up on Instagram. It's absolutely gorgeous and so beneficial for you. You can literally feel yourself coming to life. So I was so pleased when you did this because it's adding an extra dimension as well. As you say, it's not just a superfluous ingredient. Please don't be shy if you've got any questions on whatever you want to ask either of us. Just put them in the chat as long as they're not too rude.
Exactly. Thanks, Catherine. Yeah. So no, that's a great point. And the lemon peel, it tastes so good and it's so great making a tea out of it or consuming it really in any way. And there's different compounds in there, D-limonene. People pronounce it different ways, but that is great for digestion. Supporting a healthy inflammatory response in the body. Those are two really common uses of lemon peel oil. And then, of course, rich in the bioflavonoids like hesperidin, diosmin, and eriocitrin, helps capillary strength and blood vessel support, immune system, and breathing too. So, just a brief little background on the algae oil itself and kind of what it does amongst the things we've been talking about. DHA has been called the pacemaker of brain speed because it's the most abundant fat in the brain. It has electroconductive properties throughout the eyes and the whole body. And it's an actual structural component of neurons. So that means that fat is actually making up part of the actual neuron. So if you're giving the building blocks for neurons, what do you think is going to happen? The neurons, in theory, are going to perform better and do what they're supposed to do, thus help us to be happier, healthier, have a stronger memory or focus or attention. Many different human studies are related to those things in DHA. And then it's helping the brain and neurogenesis in many different ways. We've talked about this a lot, Catherine, but it's upregulating different proteins that help with this process over here on the right to make neurons stronger and make their connections more dense and help them to communicate more information. But as it relates to light, I'll read one of these points. DHA is also known to help with the healthy expression of different genes that relate to the hypothalamus and the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the SCN, which is commonly known as the brain's pacemaker, because of its ability to help regulate hormones in conjunction with the cycles of light and darkness. And then, of course, children's IQs have been known to go up when pregnant and nursing mothers are taking enough DHA. And so, I mean, really the same can be said for us humans. Here's some photos of pets that have been using some of the products, the algae. You don't really want to you don't want to really give the lemon one to the pets. Yeah. As you know, Catherine, you can probably better speak on that. But what we do say is definitely the pure one, absolutely safe for pets. That's the preferable one for pets. But us humans, we can use either of them.
I love it. Yeah, it's much better. So I have got one bottle of the normal algae oil in the fridge, which I give every day to my dogs and cats. And then I've got the lemon one. I mean, I was using the same one as them, but now I've got the lemon one for us humans in there because I really love it. And it's not that the lemon's going to harm in any way particularly, but it will probably put particularly the cats off their food. And you do have to be careful with, some of the, with lemon with cats, they wouldn't naturally select that at all. So it's best to stick to the plain one for your animals and get the lemon one for yourself if that's what you prefer. A nice question here from Cindy. For someone in their mid-60s, what would you be thinking to start with, Lance?
Definitely the lemon algae oil DHA, because again, it's fundamental and foundational. We have to get those fats and those fatty acids in the diet. And our product has 24 of those fatty acids and the highest concentration and the proper ratio of DHA to EPA. If she wanted to look at a couple more as well, like other foundational ones that can definitely be synergistic and safe to take with it in general, is the humic and fulvic.
Yeah.
And the mushrooms as well, because again, both of those products are also impacting multiple systems in the body, including the brain. And it just really helps, again, just address multiple systems, because there's so many nutrients in those various products that different parts of the body can benefit and utilize.
And you can see the light. Look at my light shining already. I'm trying to move away so that without cutting off my computer, I don't have it shining in my eyes. So great question, Cindy. And it's so important that we give ourselves the support we need. And don't forget, for animals that are approaching middle age as well, this is absolutely crucial. So any other questions, people, fire away. Now, one of the things I wanted to ask you about it is, I think this is where people realize, certainly I work as a holistic therapist for humans and their animals. And what I notice often, Lance, is people just don't realize how good they can feel. We're so used to being deficient in so many key nutrients, but also sort of full of toxins, that when people do start using some of these products, it can have an amazing sort of effect on them. And of course, the powers that be often do not want us to thrive. I think anyone watching this knows that. So what sort of things have you noticed from yourself or from, people that that have been taking the DHA?
We've got a lot of reviews on there that people can read through, but specifically, people feel more focused. They feel sharper. They feel like their brain is like turning on. I mean, and that's what I feel too in general. I'll take various doses throughout the day. But those are like that's the big feedback. There's individual ones that are different, less pain for some people that they report. But definitely the brain, the focus, the mental clarity, and just feeling better overall. Because again, these fats, they're in every cell in the body, specifically DHA. And so when we saturate ourselves and give us enough, then every system is impacted.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people, I think, thank you, Cindy, for your kind comments. I think a lot of people, because as I said, we've been told that we don't need all this. We've been told that the level of health that we're seeing in so many people now is normal, and it's just not. You know, you've only got to look at people that are living in parts of the world that aren't so affected by the industrial processes, the mass poisoning that we're seeing everywhere now, and see how they thrive. But why would you say it's so important for people to consider taking supplements, even if they think that they're eating pretty healthily at the moment?
Yeah, because of what's been done to the air, the water, the soil, our mindset, the propaganda in the media, the propaganda in healthcare, the propaganda just amongst the general mindset of food and diet and health and wellness. You know, we've all been conditioned in different ways, you know, so many different ways. And, you know, they clearly undertook a massive campaigns to influence our mind, both short term and long term, as it relates to food and diet and nutrition and health and happiness. So I think supplementing, it's very important. Specifically, I mean, it's highly individual depending on what a person's doing, what they're already consuming. But it's so important. Like this fatty acid example, the fish oil, or, you know, eating the fish and getting the algae oil, these omegas, this is the perfect example of your question. So, you know, again, a person may be eating a great diet, and let's say they're eating salmon 3 times a week. They're getting a bunch of omega-3s, a lot, but it's still not even enough of what general practitioners are suggesting, and what all of the big health organizations are suggesting that people get 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams per day. So the point is, supplementing becomes beneficial whether you're vegan or carnivore. Getting those omega-3s, you have to get them in somehow. And so if you're only getting X amount from, let's say, salmon, then you need to add in more to get up to the 1,000 to 2,000. And if you're not having salmon or oysters or really any seafood like that, then you really need to be mindful of, okay, how much am I getting in my diet, whether it's from like walnuts, flax seeds, other things like that. But there's so little in those that a person truly does need to supplement and add them in. And so this is part of why we brought this out, because it's not just a food product, but it is a true supplement in that you can supplement it into your diet regardless of whatever else you're consuming.
Oh, I absolutely love that. And, you know, I've been working in this for a long while, and I think most of us are very unaware of just how deficient most of our food is now, because of the way it's grown, the fact our soils are so deficient. And of course there's some brilliant people out there like Zach Bush that are educating people loads more about regenerative agriculture and how to get the health of our soil back, how to use healthy water, etc. And it's so there's loads that you can do in your own backyards to actually start growing your own food where possible, to actually look after your own soil, make sure you're using clean water to water your plants, etc. But the reality of where most of us live is we do need to get supplements, and there's a lot of really poor quality supplements out there. So that's why I, you know, always use yours, Lance, because I know just how much effort you go into not only the sourcing but also the production, because you can have a very well sourced raw ingredient that can be completely ruined or denatured by improper processing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Now we've got a question here for Terry. Retinopathy, can you help? I mean, certainly the DHA is absolutely crucial to all aspects of eye health, isn't it?
Yeah, DHA hyperaccumulates in the retina, in the rods and the cones of the retina. That's actually the most concentrated place of DHA, even more than the neurons. And it's already, you know, super concentrated in the brain and neurons, but even more in the rods and cones of the eye. Because again, as it relates to light, DHA is splitting light. It splits that photon and then communicates an electrical signal that the brain reads, and then we interpret the environment around us.
Yeah. So, and also let's talk a little bit about how much people would take a day, because the guidelines that you have to put on the bottles are just guidelines, aren't they? It's very safe if people have something that they're looking to rebalance in their bodies, that they can take more.
Yes, yes. There's definitely people, and I know doctors even will recommend some people going up to 4 or 5 grams a day of the omega-3s. So that'd be 4 or 5,000 milligrams. We generally just, suggest 1,000 to 2,000. Even that amount is still enough to have profound effects in the body, especially over time. But yes, people can definitely take more if their situation, calls for it, and it's fine for them to do it. It's definitely very safe. It has a blood cleansing effects in different ways. So, that's really, I mean, it's just super beneficial, and people can look up contraindications. There's not really any out there. There may say that there are some with low blood pressure and things like that. Of course, talk to your doctor if you're concerned. But there's also many doctors who don't say that's an issue. But that's up for you to decide, and speak with whoever you would like.
Absolutely. And we're both great advocates for really tuning in with your body. So it's really good before you start taking something to do sort of a health questionnaire to really look at all aspects of your health. What's your skin like? What's your digestion like? What's your sleep like? What are your energy levels like? Go through pain levels, etc., and really just tune in with yourself to really understand where you're at, so you can baseline yourself before you start, because it's amazing, obviously, the way our bodies are constantly regenerating. When you start putting these great inputs in, then you're looking for nice, steady, slow changes. So really baselining where you are, you'll be amazed at how many things in your life that you might not have thought about these things impact. I love this question from Margaret, Lance. So where do you get healthy items to make your products from? So obviously we've talked about how depleted most of the soils, contamination, particularly the fish farms, are awful. How do you go about sourcing the best quality ingredients?
Yeah, so it's a
And
great
so I
question.
must just say, Margaret, please answer my question. Give us a minute. I was halfway through another conversation, so at least give us a couple of minutes to get to the question. Thank you. Oh.
So, okay, great question. And it depends on the product, but the coffee, as an example, organically grown down in Guatemala. We work with the farmers directly. We know what the processes are, and that helps us to do it again organically, but then mold and mycotoxin free. The algae, we're growing that in hermetically sealed tanks, so we're not growing it in the ocean, so it's not contaminated. Then we test it. We show the COA results, heavy metals, microbes, all of that on the product page. You can look at that. And then, the pine needles, we're wild harvesting those up in Canada. We, of course, clean them and go through all the processes to make sure it's, 100% clean and safe for humans. Same with the pine pollen. The mushrooms we grow organically here in the US. We're very stringent on the strains that we use and the growing methods that we use, so that it is as clean as possible, because mushrooms are like sponges. They'll absorb the environment around it. So we do it super clean and make sure that the end result also passes, inspections and testing of heavy metals and microbes and things like that. So, all clean, tested, and we've been able to identify how to get the purest of the pure and the best of the best, just simply through a lot of time in the industry and a lot of research and experimentation.
Yeah, and it's such a good question, because that's exactly, Margaret, the question that all of us should be asking any supplier that we're working with. So I used to have my own natural product shop that I sold in 2020 for many animal products, but everything was human grade, organic, etc. And I used to love it when people ask questions like that, Margaret, because people that are really passionate about the sourcing and the quality of their ingredients and the production methods and everything, they're really willing and open to answer those questions. So don't be shy at asking your suppliers things like this, to make sure that they really can give you the information you need to put your mind at rest, because there is a lot of mixed products out there. I think it's lovely, as you said, you started off the conversation, Lance, by saying how many positive things are happening. And I think everyone who's watching this we've got the type of audience that are very well aware and really keeping themselves abreast of what's happening. What else could you say to people is going to really help in your experience to really help people keep positive at this time and to take the information that they're finding out about global events, but use it to move themselves forward rather than be in a fear vibration?
Yeah, I think the best thing is prayer or meditation. That's what helps me the most when I'm feeling fearful or stuck or challenged in different ways. You know, some people may say it's too simple, but it's honestly the easiest way to shift mindset and shift out of something and breathe through things. That's what helps me the most. But of course, just being out in nature, having balance and working that into your life in the ways that you can, exercising, eating well. I mean, it's all again, the basics, but you know, the things that help me the most is just shifting my mindset towards what are the good things happening in my life? What are the good things that I have in my life? What can I be grateful for? And move my mindset out of the fear state.
I love it. And I had a really good question from one of my listeners, Anthony, who watches a lot of the videos, and he's a single father. And he was sort of saying, you know, all these things are brilliant, but actually if people are doing full-time jobs, they've got a family to look after, a lot of people also looking after elderly relatives, then it can be a balance. And this is why personally I understand that, I get that, which is why I love being able to have supplements that you trust, that you can reach for. Because whereas we'd all love to be cooking 3 healthily home-cooked meals a day grown from our own gardens, let's be honest that there aren't very many of us that are in that position at the moment. And particularly when you're actually, you know, you've got busy lives, you're working, you've got children and family and everything. So I think this is where we've made lives easy for ourselves. Don't you think, Lance? Where this is why you can sort of say, okay, let me concentrate on what I can do. And the rest of the time, let me use things that are going to make my life easier and help me make better decisions.
100%. I agree with that completely. Everyone, you know, we all can just do what we can do and affect the change that we can. So whatever a person can implement, it's always a step forward.
Yeah. So someone, Kathleen's using the sea moss and has had a detox rash. Fantastic. I call detox, Kathleen, healing, because that's what your body's doing when it's detoxing. It's getting rid of what no longer serves you. And I can see that Kathy's obviously experienced in that. Great for leaky gut, the sea moss.
I mean, if she's experiencing that, then, you know, those are her words, but it's not surprising. I would say that it makes sense. Another thing too that's great for the gut that we've talked about is the humic and fulvic acid.
Oh,
because that humic just scavenges, both of them scavenge free radicals immensely, but they act in a way where they completely neutralize toxins and basically can absorb them and then chelate them and pull them out. And so a lot of people, when I would do health coaching for people, 4 out of 5 people who would come see me had gut challenges, and the number one thing always for every single one of them was the humic and fulvic acid. So that's why we brought out this product. One of the reasons, because it's helping the gut, many other things, heavy metal detox, you know, brain health. But that's another thing great for the gut, and you know, something that I'd like to talk about and bring up because it has helped so many people that I've worked with, and you know, so many people who take it right now from Ascent. They even will put on comments that it's helping them. So that's just another one to consider. But the sea moss is great.
Great. Got a comment here about comfrey. I'm going to start with this. Also, Miss Catherine, why do I censor someone in your comments? I don't censor anyone's comments unless they're abusive or unless they're going to get me a ban on YouTube. So I've obviously got no idea what you're talking about that and which comment you're talking about, because I don't censor comments. I've made it very clear in my live the other day that if people put links to other videos that are containing nefarious, sources that YouTube doesn't like, that can get a ban. So I've no idea what comments you're talking about. Now, comfrey, I love comfrey, knit bone. It's really good for tendon and ligament strength. It's all good for all sorts of things. Inclusive in terms of removing certain things, we've already talked about how there's loads of things that will look at removing things like the graphene for the body, and the humic and fulvic is really amazing at that. So any other comments that you thought about comfrey?
No, I mean, I know about it more so for animal use.
Yeah.
Not so much for humans, more so just like making poultices and wraps out of the comfrey leaves. That's what I know.
Yeah, I use that a lot, and I teach that in all my natural first aid courses, and I grow a lot of it because it's fantastic, and
Awesome.
It's also great to be used medicinally. So any final questions before we finish? And Lance, is there anything else that you'd like to raise?
No, I think that was it, Catherine. Thank you so much. This is great. I hope that people enjoyed the information. We're both of us are here to just simply help. And yes, we're selling products, but again, we've been doing things even beyond this to get to this point, to where it's like, hey, we've been recommending other companies and other products, and now we've got Ascent Nutrition, and so we're bringing out these products that can help. And you really help us, Catherine. We appreciate it, and everyone who has bought and who will buy, thank you very much. We've got many great things coming this summer and fall, exciting new things, like quantum leaps with where we're at right now. So it'll be very fun, and I mean, just everything that we've got right now is all with purpose.
I love it. And it's so important. I mean, there's so many different natural herbs. I've got courses if anyone wants to learn more. Absolutely. There's so much that nature has to offer us. So obviously there's certain things that we choose to talk about at certain times. I think there is a discount code CE10 for anyone to use with the link, which Andrea's posted above and is always below the video. And when you use that discount code, you're also supporting this channel, which really helps me get great guests like Lance and everyone else on. I would just encourage everyone to really, once you start really researching yourself, the beauty of what nature has about you, if everyone starts familiarizing themselves by what's available in their local environment, and perhaps looking it up and looking up the medicinal properties and how you can use it, we can all become our own healers. We can all become our own herbalists. And as I say, there's a lot of people that reach out to both of us that are really struggling to fit everything in, to give the support that they need. And so things like the supplements can really help people on their journey. And obviously there's loads you can do yourself. No supplement is an excuse for an unhealthy lifestyle. It absolutely really helps. So yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much for everyone that's joining us. Thank you so much for the people that are being positive in the chat. So much. Yeah, thank you so much, Cindy. And yeah, loads of stuff you can do yourself. What I would say is just go out, take this opportunity to empower yourselves, do what you can, look up what's available to you locally, and really start using it. Lovely. Thanks, Lance.
Thanks, Catherine. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Take care. Bye.